What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Off the Post Sports. This is Off the Post NHL, and today we're doing our Stanley Cup playoff prediction video. I couldn't be joined by Mitch and Jeffrey, but they're here in spirit, and I'm definitely going to get them on to share their playoff predictions and their takes. But you're just going to have to listen to me ramble for a bit. So I'm going to be doing this in two parts. I want to just do the games today. This is Monday, April 17th, and the games that we got on tap are the New York Islanders versus the Carolina Hurricanes, the Florida Panthers versus the Boston Bruins, the Minnesota Wild versus the Dallas Stars, and the LA Kings versus the Edmonton Oilers. So let's get into it. First game I want to look at is the first game that's actually on the schedule. It's the New York Islanders versus the Carolina Hurricanes. And first, I just want to start. I want to go position group by position group and just kind of look up the matchup and the advantages and disadvantages that both teams have. So overall, I think the forwards is pretty easily going to the Hurricanes. Overall, you just have a lot more faith in their depth, and their scoring throughout the lineup will be more consistent. I feel like they've shown throughout the season that they will be able to produce up and down. And for the Islanders, they really need Horvat to step up. They need Nelson to step up, and then Barzal is supposedly supposed to be back for game one, so that's a huge addition, and that they'll need his presence in the lineup, and he's going to have to, you know, hit the ground running right away in the playoffs. Like, there's no warm-ups in the playoffs. It's time to go, baby. So let's fucking get it. On defense, it's a toss-up to me. Both position groups are like so solid overall. I might give a slight edge to Carolina just based on the fact that their defensive stats as a team are actually cracked. Like, they're crazy. They have the second goals against allowed, the first shots against allowed, and the second best penalty kill. Like, those are pretty ridiculous numbers. And everybody talks about the Islanders as being that like super defensive team, like that super grindy out team. But they got their fifth in goals allowed, which obviously is incredible. But that's also a lot to do with Sorokin because they have 15th in shots against. So they allow basically middle of the pack shots against, and they have a top 10 penalty kill. So it's not like they're a bad defensive team. I just feel like overall Carolina is a little bit better as a defensive team, like playing together as a whole. So I might give the defensive position group edge to them just slightly. But then when you look at the goalies, it's supposed to be Ranta game one. We'll see what happens if they shake it out between Ranta and Anderson. But goalie is obviously a huge advantage for Sorokin and the Islanders by a mile. If the Islanders manage to go on a run here, like, it's pretty well going to be on the back of him. And obviously, you need other guys to step up, but he's going to have to play amazing throughout the entire playoffs. So, ways to win the series, I kind of got two ways for each team to win the series, or key things that they need to do or look out for. So, one for Carolina is score, score, score. You just got to score goals. The Islanders all season have not proven that they can keep up with a team who can put up, 4 goals, 5 goals, 6 goals. So if you can put the puck in the net, which I know isn't easy enough to be said against Sorokin, but you got to get ahead on the scoreboard and just make it so that they're fighting from behind the entire series, and it'll wear them down. And then number two, Carolina, you got to find your goalie. If it's Ranta, it's Ranta. Let's go. If it's Anderson, it's Anderson. Let's go. But you can't really waste time flip-flopping between your goalies this series. You got to figure out one, stick with it, and they got to perform. For the Islanders, it's really, like I kind of mentioned earlier, Sorokin or bust. He's going to have to stand on his head this series and throughout a playoff run if they get there. And number two is just grind. They just got to grind. They got to make them low-scoring games, the exact opposite of what the Carolina Hurricanes want. You got to make them low-scoring games and just keep yourself in it the entire game, and that'll give you a chance. So my key players in the series for the Islanders, I mentioned Barzal. His return is going to be big. Bo Horvat, they're going to need him to step up. He was a big trade deadline acquisition, and they really need him to, prove his worth now in the playoffs. And then obviously Sorokin, he's the man, the goalie in net, and he's been amazing all season. Let's see if he can keep it up. And then for Carolina, I just put the top 9. Like, the top 9 just needs to go out there and produce, and it should be easy enough for Carolina. And my prediction is that Carolina is going to take it in 6. I think Sorokin's going to stand on his head and steal 2 games, but all in all, I think Carolina is going to be able to take this series. So Looking at the betting lines for this Carolina game one, we got the Islanders at plus 150 money line, plus 1.5 spread. And then the money line for Carolina is minus 175 and minus 1.5 spread. I don't really like the spreads in either of those. If you had to twist my arm, I would probably take Carolina home ice advantage, money line, minus 175, put a couple bucks on it, but I don't really know if I love that. And then the series odds are minus 205 for Carolina and plus 165 for the Islanders. I like Carolina in the series. I think it should be pretty handed. Everybody's given the Islanders so much more of a chance because they're such a good defensive team. And they don't mention how Carolina is actually such a good defensive team themselves. So, uh, moving on now to the Boston versus Florida series. So, looking at position by position, have you seen the Boston Bruins lineup on forward or on defense? They match up, or on goalie, they match up against everybody. So when Tyler Bertuzzi is on your third line and you have Pasternak, Bergeron, Krejci, your forward group's going to be that good. On defense, they're sitting guys who are NHLers. You got Charlie McAvoy, Carlo, Lindholm, Orlov. Like they're just insane. And then Ullmark or Swayman. Obviously, Ullmark's going to win the Vezina, and Swayman is also a great goalie in his own right. So, yeah, the matchups by position for the Florida versus Boston series is a clean sweep by Boston. Florida still got some guys, Tkachuk can do some stuff maybe, but it's going to be a tough series. So the ways to win this series for Boston is just keep playing your game, just keep being consistent, and just don't lay off the gas because it's Florida is kind of the biggest thing, because you can't just take them lightly, which I don't think Boston will. All season they haven't taken anybody lightly. They're breaking records, so that is what it is. And then for the Florida Panthers, it's going to take a big time miracle, but you're going to need a goalie to stand on his head. They're starting Lyon. We'll see how that goes. I mean, he hasn't been bad so far in his short time with them. We'll see how that goes, and then they're gonna need to not back down. You're gonna have to put all the pressure you can on Boston, put them in uncomfortable situations. They haven't really had to, face many losing streaks this year. So if you're able to steal a game, you got to be able to steal another one. You got to string wins together, and you got to just kind of stay after it. But I hate to be a Florida Panther fan watching this right now, and you can just light me up in the comments. You can message me and we can hop on a podcast and you can tell me how I'm so dead wrong. I will gladly invite anybody, but it's going to be tough. The key players in the series, it's going to be for Florida. Tkachuk needs to be a superstar, and Lyon / whoever's in net needs to have an amazing rookie playoffs, or I guess I don't know if it would be a rookie for Bobrovsky, let's say, or Spencer Knight, but they need to have an amazing playoffs regardless, whoever the goalie is. And the key players for the Boston series is just going to be Ullmark or Swayman. Apparently, both of them are sick, so we'll see what's going on with that. They might not play in game one, but either way, Ullmark most likely, or Swayman, however it shakes out, they're going to need to play amazing. Well, not even play amazing. They're going to have to play good enough to help the Boston team keep dominating. And obviously, it's just kind of the depth overall. I mean, the key players in the series, it's hard to pick key players for a team like Boston. Like, there's so many players who could step up. Like, you could end up seeing Pavel Zacha having an amazing playoffs. You could end up seeing Lindholm just keep being, a big man on campus. Like, I don't really have too many key prediction or key players for this series on Boston side. It's just kind of, they got their guys. It's anybody could be that key player. Prediction, I'm going to take them in a gentleman's sweep. I'm going to take them in 5. Florida will find a way to maybe steal one, but who knows? That might even be generous. So I'm going to take Boston in 5. So moving on now to the Minnesota versus Dallas series. This series is so intriguing to me because I really, really like Dallas. And I might be a weirdo. I don't know if this is like an odd take, but I feel like Dallas has a lot of scoring potential throughout their whole lineup. They got guys like obviously Jason Robertson, Rupe Hintz, Pavelski, Jamie Benn, Sagan. They got Wyatt Johnson, who had a amazing rookie season with 25 plus goals. Like they got scoring throughout that whole lineup, but Minnesota is just kind of one of those teams that are just kind of, you never really know what you're going to get with them. And especially with this goalie matchup that's going to go down, it's going to be such a good series. So obviously, let's just start by the matchup advantage in net. That's a toss up. Are you taking Ottinger or Philip Gustafson? I had them both in fantasy this year. And let me tell you, I had a very good fantasy year. I also had Allmark too. So, anyway, looking at the matchup advantage for defense, I think I'm giving the advantage to the Dallas Stars. They have a lot of depth on defense, and they also have kind of the big dogs like Heiskanen, who are just really difference makers on the blue line and can be difference makers throughout this series. And then if you look at the forwards, again, like I said, there's a lot of depth. I think I'm taking Dallas, but Minnesota's just one of those sneaky teams. So I don't know if I fully count them out at all especially because of Gustafson. And I've always said this about Kirill. I love watching Kirill Kaprisov play hockey. Like all Minnesota Wild fans, you guys are so lucky that you get to see him all the time because he is just such a fun player to watch. When he is on the ice, the puck's getting to him somehow. He will find a way to get the puck and he will make a play, whether that's a goal, whether that's a sweet pass, whether that's even just breaking the puck in and keeping an offensive cycle in their zone. Kirill's just that guy, and I really like Kirill. But so the ways to win this series is going to be stop Dallas's depth from scoring. There's going to be guys like, Jason Robertson. He's going to be able to step up. But if you can slow down, your Jamie Benns and you can slow down your Wyatt Johnsons, if you can kind of quiet those guys and just match up well against them, you're going to be able to have a pretty even fight at that point if you're able to, kind of go top line for top line or, like kind of the big scoring guys versus the big scoring guys instead of just letting Dallas have all this depth throughout their lineup. So gonna have to play a sound defensive game. And it's always, I feel like I'm kind of a broken record here, but like Gustafson's played so well this season. So they're going to need him to step up. And I assume he can. And then for Dallas, their way to win the series is don't let it become a shootout kind of series. Like you need to score your goals and play good defense, and you guys can easily win the series. I think they're more than capable. But like I said, I'm not counting out the Wild because I do think Gustafson is he's so sneaky good, and anything's possible, obviously. But I feel like if you couldn't tell already, I'm super high on Dallas. So we'll see what that means for my prediction at the end. But I kind of already went over the key players, so I don't want to sound like too much of a broken record. But we'll just go Ottinger, Gustafson, Kirill, Jason Robertson. We're just going all superstars. Like I really do feel like the depth is going to be big for Dallas in terms to be key. But if I'm picking just specific players, those are the big players. Those are the guys that you gotta expect to step up in these big time moments, right? So my prediction for this series, I got it going 6 games for Dallas. It's going to be a tough series, but I do think Dallas is going to be able to come out on top. So looking Looking at the betting lines for this game, it's plus 120 for the Minnesota Wild and a plus 1.5 spread at minus 220. And then it's minus 1.5 for Dallas at plus 190. And the money line is minus 140. That's such a pick 'em game. Bet at your own risk. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to influence nobody here today. The series odds are minus 145 and plus 125 for minus 145 for the Dallas Stars. So they have the Dallas Stars favored and plus 125 for the Minnesota Wild. So take with that what you will. I mean, they're definitely calling it a close series as well. And I might have been a little bit more heavy on Dallas than they are. So maybe I am the crazy one who's just super excited about Dallas, but we'll see. We'll see. And moving on now to the LA Kings versus the Edmonton Oilers. So this series is going to be interesting. Do I do it? Do I do it? Do I really think the Kings are going to win? I think the Kings are going to be very, very mean to McDavid, and they're going to be very, very mean to Draisaitl. I'm expecting a lot of, extracurricular activities going on with those two guys. But since they got Ekholm, Edmonton has been red hot. I'm pretty sure I saw a stat. I could be wrong. So let me know if I'm wrong in the comments. I'm pretty sure I saw a stat that the Edmonton Oilers, since getting Ekholm, have been better than the Boston Bruins, which that should tell you something. I think I like Edmonton in the series. I think looking at the matchups by position, based on the superstars alone, the forwards are going to go to the Edmonton Oilers. And then on the defensive side, it's like if you asked me before they got Ekholm, I might have easily said the Kings. But now that they got Ekholm and they've played so much better, I might go Edmonton on the defense as well. And then in net, I mean, it's Korpisalo game one versus Stuart Skinner. Like, you're not taking Korpisalo. Like, I know it's Stuart Skinner, and I know he's been, hit and miss, but I don't think you're taking Korpisalo over Stuart Skinner. See, I had myself convinced that this was going to be a close series, but now I'm definitely thinking that Edmonton's got this in the bag. So let's see it, Edmonton. The best offensive team. They were first in goals for, the first power play, 32%. Facing the 24th penalty kill. I think I like Edmonton a lot in this series. The way they're going to have to win this series is McJesus be the savior. And the way that the Kings are going to have to win this series, don't let McJesus be the savior. Just they're going to have to be so like sticky and irritating, and it's going to be a tough series for potentially both sides. We'll see who's able to come out, and that's going to be a thing to watch with Edmonton and making a deep playoff run. Is it's going to be a lot of wear and tear on McDavid and Draisaitl just taking all these shots, all these hits. And I saw a thing that I believe an interview that Drew Doughty did, where Drew Doughty said that he was basically looking for retaliation, or if he catches McDavid, he's going to catch McDavid because of the Mikey Anderson hit that I believe happened about 2 weeks ago. So we'll see how that goes, but definitely the key to win the series for the LA Kings, pardon me, is going to be to just be irritants and don't let them get loose. Don't let the guys get loose on Edmonton. Key players in this series, it's going to be whoever they end up matching up against the McDavid line. I can't say exactly who it is, but whoever's matching up against the McDavid line. And then on the other side, it's just going to be, I mean, really the key to the entire playoff run, it's going to be the depth of Edmonton. They're going to need their guys to step up besides the superstars. So we'll see how they can do. And obviously, guys like Nuge and Hyman, they had great years, but I'm talking like they need all their depth to start, contributing, because like I said, the game plan is going to be attack McDavid, attack Draisaitl, and force someone else to beat us. So can you guys beat them with other guys? I mean, I don't think you can fully contain or stop McDavid, but you still need that depth to make these big playoff runs. And if you really want to achieve where I think that Edmonton wants to go, after talking myself off the absolute ledge of picking the LA Kings at the start of this segment, I am now confidently picking Edmonton to win this series in 5 games. So that's going to be all for today's video. I'm going to do a part 2 of the next series, the Leaf series, the Ranger series, the Kraken series, and the the Vegas series. So I'm going to be doing a video on all of those. Hopefully maybe I'll get Mitch and Jeff on, but I can't make no promises. I'm only one man. I can only do so much. I try so hard. Anyway, boys, if you like this video, give it a like. If you hated all of it, please spam in the comments and tell me how shit I am and how bad these picks were. If you have anything else to say, if you want to hop on a pod and call in one time, you can leave that in the comments too. Be sure to listen to Off the Post Sports on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube right here as always. And Until next time, we'll see you. Peace.